Welcome to Area Shores Prepping. I'm your host, Greg. I'm sure if you've been watching the news and everything else, you've seen the peaceful protesters out in front of the Supreme Court justice's home trying to intimidate them on Roe v. Wade. What you don't see are these people in their neighbor's yard using bullhorns at all hours, day and night, trying to cause disruption. And if I was a neighbor of them, I would be saying, get off my property. I didn't sign up for this. You're trespassing, whatever. And the cops are all standing there saying, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to make it worse than what it is. So I want to give you some ideas. Hopefully you'll take them. Hopefully you will not be living in a suburban neighborhood where a car can come rolling up at the end of your driveway unabated with a semi-automatic or a fully automatic weapon and put 200 to 300 holes in your house with bullets traveling and not stopping until they hit something that makes it stop. In other words, your house will be Swiss cheese and you can do nothing about it. I want you to think about that for a second. If someone can roll up in a car, 4 people, say whatever, and do a drive-by in an SHTF, you're in deep trouble. No one can offer you any kind of protection or advice other than don't be there. Be in the basement or something else like that. But in the meantime, say your house, your driveway, and the road are a little ways off from your house, and you have time to add some protection to your property. Keep people from rolling up on your lawn and walking from the street to your front door. I can offer you a little bit of advice. Hopefully you'll listen, maybe take some direction on that, but here it goes. First off, stock up on this hardware cloth. Right now it is relatively inexpensive, about $10, give or take a little bit. I think I purchased this one for like $7. Hardware cloth, galvanized steel. You cannot cut this with a knife. You have to have this to gain entrance, and I would highly recommend you pick up 2 or 3 of these. Get yourself some 2x4s, cut them into fitting inside the frame of your window. So you have the 2x4s here, and you staple this or nail it to those 2x4s which you've secured to the inside of your frame. So here's one frame of the window. You have a 2x4 here, drive a nail through it, or a wood screw, both sides. And now you've added the screen, which creates a buffer. Here's a window. Here's your window. You created a little bit of buffer to keep people from throwing rocks, Molotov cocktails, tear gas canisters, whatever it is, out of your house, including burglars. So you want to secure that. That's the first step. Use this to put on over your screen doors, so thieves, intruders can't use their pocket knife and cut your screen door open, reach right in, unlock it, and then gain access to your house on these hot summer days. That's my first advice. Put that over your windows to keep them out. On the inside, I use heavy galvanized field fencing over the inside of the window to keep glass from coming back into the house should this be penetrated. All right, so I have double layer protection on the screen doors and windows for my security, the missus security, and anybody else who may be in the house. So you say, oh crap, you know, it's SHTF, my front lawn is exposed, but my backyard, I have it fenced in with chain link fence. Second thing you should have on hand plenty of for an SHTF, if you are in a suburban neighborhood, chances are barbed wire is not acceptable. This is a double strand barbed wire. This video is for SHTF. Check with your rules and regulations, your covenants of your neighborhood, your ordinances, but chances are if you are in a suburban neighborhood, you cannot install this yet. This is for SHTF. Double strand barbed wire. Put it over the top of your chain link fence, multiple layers to keep people from hopping across the fence or throwing a blanket or shirt over the top of them to block those bars. Multiple layers, one right across the top, one on the inside of your fence, like that, double strand. So if they breach the top part and they decide they want to hop over, they'll hit the second strand and get tangled up in that. Next, your front lawn is exposed. People can go from the front road right to your front door unabated. These are T-posts right here. This happens to be a 6-footer because you're going to put a foot of it in the ground to give it a sturdy support on this. But these are T-posts, just like this. All right, so you pound them into the ground. You can get a post driver or a sledge and pound this in there, and then take your roll of barbed wire and string it through these gaps, pinch this closed, and suddenly now you have a makeshift fence. And there are all kinds of little prongs in there that you can do it in a number of gaps. But this is what we use out here in rural America to keep our cattle in, trespassers out. It is very effective. These are T-posts, variety of sizes. This one happens to be about a 6-footer, foot in the ground, so you have actually a 5-foot fence. But you can use these to set up your front yard perimeter very quickly, and at least have something to keep people from going right from the road to your front door unabated. There's also a variety of these, variety of sizes. Like I said, these are little 3-foot T-posts that I use in our garden to keep little critters out, the dogs out, and everything else out like that. So the big ones, 6-footers, will run you about $9 now. They used to be $6. These small ones will run you about $4 to $5 now. Get a bunch of those. You don't need 100, but if you have a standard size lot and you want to set up something to keep people from going from the road right to your front door, you'll probably need at least, I would say, a good dozen. And if you don't use them all, put them in your garage or your shed as backup. But in an SHTF, you could set up, the barbed wire fencing as a deterrent, which is very effective in less than an hour. I highly recommend that. If you say, well, we have plenty of trees, can I nail barbed wire to the trees? Yes, you sure can. And these are fencing staples. All right. And they have little gouges in it right in here. Hope you can see this. Sorry about that, but it has a little gouge right in here to keep it from being pulled out of your post or your tree. I really like these. I highly recommend to get them. And you pound them in with a nail, or a hammer rather, and put your barbed wire fencing in here like that, and it holds it in place. So again, if you don't have the post but you have plenty of trees, make yourself up a perimeter with that. I use 2 or 3 strands. A roll of barbed wire used to cost me about $55. It's now up to $70, $80. If you're looking to secure your home perimeter quickly, I would have hardware cloth for the covering the windows, the screen doors. I would have 2, 3, 4 rolls of that. I would definitely have more than one wire cutter so people can help you defend your home quickly and set up its defenses. And I would definitely have at least a dozen of the T-posts while they're still available and still reasonably, cheap. But again, you could put these in your tool shed, have them a dozen in there, and your significant other says, what are you doing with that? And I said, this is just in case. Sandbag bags are another one. Take up little to no room, can be filled fairly easily, quickly, to put in front of your windows to give you some support to hide behind. And again, this is in an SHTF. Empty sandbags are good to have on hand. But if you're waiting to SHTF and say, oh my God, You know, what are we going to do now? We can't bug out. We waited too long. The highway is packed. Stores are closed. Banks are closed. We're in it. There's not going to be any sand delivery. You're not going to dig a hole in your backyard to put up a half a dozen sandbags. You have to have the stuff on hand. All right? Check my prior videos on other suggestions about fortified fighting positions. But for something that's very quick and easy to do, get yourself some fencing posts right now. You could even get yourself a roll of 3.5 foot, 4 foot field fencing to make it even more difficult. Top it off with barbed wire. Who cares what the neighbors think if it's an SHTF? You're defending you and your own. And you're not going to allow somebody to run up to your front door unabated. It's not going to help you if they can put right up in your driveway and make your house a piece of Swiss cheese in under a minute. But that's just some ideas. Get yourself right with God. Get yourself baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. I hope this helps. Greg out.